Let's get going. Before we start, I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to our valued platinum sponsor, Flow Patterns, and bronze sponsor, Zenise Health and Fitness, whose steadfast support and collaboration have played a crucial role in bringing this event to life. Now, let's begin with our first session. First on the list, we have a panel discussion on gamifying wellness for better health. In a world where health routines can feel mundane, gamifying wellness adds fun and an interactive twist. So why not blend enjoyment with health improvement? Stay tuned as our panelists dive deep into dynamics of gamified health strategies in this upcoming discussion. To begin the session, can we please have our session's moderator, Alice Beglio, CEO and founder of Bright and Fit, and our expert panelists to the stage? Round of applause for them.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I'm proud and honored to be here in this important panel and to introduce such important panelists with whom I had such nice conversation before starting. So the theme today is very deep, is very important because we are living on a specific era in which it's more and more important to focus on our health. It's not just about the pandemic that passed, it's about all the bad lifestyles we're having that lead us to difficult situation for the mental or physical side. We are speaking about burnout, we are speaking about health issues, we are speaking about overweight problems or diabetes. So as healthcare practitioner, the first question we are just posing ourselves is how we can guarantee success to our patient, how we can guarantee success to our clients. So if we think more about success, what is related? Is related about consistency. If we are consistent doing something, we can guarantee ourselves success. So this is deeper about the situation because we understand that as a care practitioner, we just not need to offer good quality system, but we need to guarantee people that they are consistent with them. So the question goes further, how we can be so consistent. And I'm just questioning yourself another thing. Think about when you decide to go to the gym. Think about when you decide to do a diet. How many times you stop? Raise your hands. How many times you stop? Many times. And the problem is not you, it's not a willpower thing, consistency. Consistency is about doing the right action, the action we enjoy. So that's how I introduce this panel. Everything is about gamification. If everything is fun, if what we are doing is fun, we are more consistent. And if we are consistent, we can succeed. So I give a warm welcome to the other panelists I'm gonna join. So welcome to Julian Nagler, welcome to our Marian Zanek, and I welcome to Kyle Adwike. So the first thing, I just start introducing what I do, so that is clear for you to understand the topic and how can I add on some more information. I'm CEO and founder of Bright and Fit, that is an online fitness app for women, but also for men, that wants to offer an holistic approach to health because we know it's not just about doing fitness or it's not just about doing the proper nutrition. It's an ecosystem of also mental health. So when I decided to open Bright and Fit, the main idea is was to offer something fun. So give different partner, different challenges that can help people to have fun while training, have fun while they are doing the proper recipes. So what about you guys in your company? What you're doing to implement gamification in your different fields?
Hi, everybody. I'm Julian. I'm a strategy manager at Meta, where I've been for the last 11 or so years, working on health things for the last 5 or 6. We have found gamification to be core to one of our new portfolios, which is immersive devices. So augmented reality, virtual reality. And to be sure, we didn't think wellness was going to be a killer use case when we launched this. In the same way that I don't think Apple thought fitness was going to be the killer use case of the Apple Watch. The market decided it was. The same is true for us. We have found fitness and mental meditation, mindfulness just take off in this massive developer ecosystem, develop around it. Um, for the reasons that we're going to talk about today, gamification makes a chore fun. And we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, so Marian, I read about what you are doing that is very interesting, and you told me I think that is very interesting. Gamification is not just in presence, can be just online, can be used in presence. So, how you apply gamification in your business?
From a perspective of new world, main world physical activities, in the inspiration of my business and the products that we've developed, using the amplification in the neurobiology, the elements of exercise and strength that we need to be the strong leaders with the resilience. I take a opposition viewpoint in a way. I love the AI movement that is happening in so many elements, but let's not forget about the true world physical activity, that which we need, that drives us, knowing that forest in my own Connecticut backyard, my inspiration, where I can go and be the healthy, strong person that I want to be. And I encourage other people to find a form that allows that physical challenge that is not just the return to virtual or to a handheld device to see how you did, but the true biological feelings of the actual doing. And that comes from childhood motivations. We've got to get them going early. Let them feel it and know it and then thrive on it and not live without it. That's me. I'm in that forest 4 or 5 times a week. I'm doing something. And that inspiration is what everybody is looking for in an employee or business partner or somebody of success. That initial drive. I think it's got to still remain with physical activity, implement AI as we can, but hold on to that traditional form as well.
I fully agree, and I think it is very interesting because also in my case, I can relate because one of the first problems I had is that online I cannot monitor people. I cannot tell them to go outside, not just doing the routines and giving them online. So I saw some women doing just the exercise inside of their houses. So it was a game changer for me to go live and tell people, okay, just go outside, just have a walk, just play with your dogs or
Mm.
hang out with friends because the pandemic affected our mental health also, and that's why gamification should be also implemented outside. So in my case, I think that a game changer could be to combine the action, as you told Marian, and I think that is very interesting. What about Kyle?
So my background is I'm a board certified physician, so treating patients, and then I also run a healthcare VC fund. So I use gamification a few different ways. So on the patient-centered front, we're using AI as well as virtual reality, augmented reality in settings like physical therapy, occupational therapy, folks who have had a stroke and they're working to get their strength back. Gamification with technology has proven to be quite beneficial on that front. Also, I also agree that my kids and me as well, we have too much screen time. So getting out and
Mhm.
finding ways to gamify time away from the screen is also important. So a personal, it's not really with my work, but with my pleasure, I'll say. I do jujitsu with my two daughters, and at our jujitsu school, we gamify how consistent we are with our training. So every time we go to training, we check in, and then there's a leaderboard for people who have been most consistent. And then we're always trying to be the top of that leaderboard. So it's a way of getting away from technology, actually doing physical activity, but still gamifying that process. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that.
That's very interesting. And going further, when we start a project, of course, there are challenges. So there are some kind of difficulties. I already told that in my case, one first difficulties was the always evolving market. So we need to adapt our gamification also to the taste of different customer. So always reinventing what we do. That's why I cannot define my company as a static one. Every month we just create new challenges, we create new recipes, we create new masterclass. I'm the first one going live like 5, 6 times per week just to make it fun, make it interesting. But the first difficulties was to don't see properly the people, as I told you before. So that's why I decided to implement live session in which Zoom or online I just answer to the question because of course, when we go online, we in some way we miss the physical contact that is so important, especially when we are starting a new lifestyle. So the first challenge, I think that when we are online we cannot see people. But what about you in your specific cases? Do you want to add something about the challenges that gamification is leading? You can go.
I would love to speak to that. In the development of Zanese, we're driven by a mission to revolutionize the way we approach orthopedic health. But it's a whole brand new way. So my challenge is to introduce it to the world. We're doing well, gaining traction, but it is a whole new way of using lean tools to support the body in the ultimate correct positions. It's never been done before. For the feet and ankles, for the whole body, I've got a complement of 4 products. But here we go. A wonderful way as a solution for sports medicine, for clinical medicine, for performance, injury prevention, injury recovery. And the challenge is now to get it out to the world. It's an ominous task, but we'll make it work.
I think one of the challenges we face around gamification is that inherently we see gamification, one of the motivations or one of the values around gamification is making wellness more personalized and therefore more motivating for an individual. Um, just as Alice said, everyone has kind of different wants and needs, and different things resonate. And so it becomes responsibility of us to figure out how do we understand what motivates a person the best, and then personalize the gamification in that regard. I think the adoption and advent of wearable technologies, biometrics, monitoring certain things is a great start there. We can get into a space where gamification becomes a biofeedback mechanism. For example, if you're in a digital experience and you're exercising, if you're right on the verge of a heart rate zone in the future, that game could increase the beats per minute, increase the intensity to get you there. If you're just exhausted, it could wind you down and transition you to a cool down setting. Well, uh, with opportunity comes challenges. We as an industry, broader, still need to figure out what matters most to what people. How do we get those signals? And then how do we, as an output, personalize and customize gamified experiences to best motivate that individual?
Julian, with your expertise in this, what are the subgroups that you are seeing that have the most evolution in this field?
Um, uh, from a consumer perspective, or from like
All of it from a world view. What is humanity doing? Where are we focused in our games and our activities?
mm,
Sometimes you walk around this resort and you think that there's no activities going on at all.
mm.
So you think, where are we on a long-term basis regarding wellness and the development? But where are the priorities where the money is going?
Well, so I'm gonna, at risk of derailing a bit, take a step back and talk about what problem gamifying wellness solves, and the importance of it. Um, I think it's important for us to all remember how difficult it is to get somebody to change their behavior. We have all experienced that before. Um, People, whether we like to admit it, are creatures of habit. Ultimately, around 70% of Americans see exercise and wellness as a chore. And because of that, almost 2/3 of people who go to the gym stop going to the gym consistently after 5 to 8 months. And so, Dallas's point, it's getting somebody to start exercising or caring about their wellness is one thing. It's a very different thing to make that a lasting, sustainable behavior. Um, and the reasons are clear. There's decades of research to show that there are shared barriers to wellness. These include lack of energy, of motivation, of skill, of willpower, concerns around injury and safety. I think one of the things that that gamification does is addresses that issue around motivation and of kind of enjoyment. It makes it fun. There are experiences, new ones every day, that force people to no longer focus on the effort of exercising or of self-care, but instead the gameplay and the enjoyment. And so at kind of a step back at a trajectory level, I think we are moving to a place where these new technologies and new innovation allow us to provide much more compelling and enjoyable experiences for people. And for the first time, we can change this dynamic of engagement and retention in the long term.
Good. Kyle, do you have something to add on your specific case?
Sure. From my perspective as a physician, I'm always thinking, how can I get my patients? And it seems like sometimes I tell them one thing recommended, it just kind of goes out the other ear. So gamification is a way I found has been a way to get my patients to have a fun way, as mentioning, to do the recommended exercise, the recommended activity levels that have been shown to improve or reduce, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, your cholesterol, and just improve quality of life. So from a clinical standpoint, that has been a challenge on my end, trying to figure out what motivates people, as that is different for every single patient. What are some things that you guys have seen that have worked for your customers and or patients?
I think that is crucial also the community just to find like-minded people that are doing the same you are doing. So in my case also a Facebook community group worked very well because people need to see people around them supporting, and it's not easy because in our life we can find out that we have a family or a friend circle that is not supporting at all, and sometimes in our life dieting is a shame. People look at you like, why? You look good in your shape, but dieting is not about shape. Dieting is about health. It's about caring who you are. So we need to have a surrounding of people that basically can help us and leading us to a new lifestyle. Or we can hang out online, but we can also hang out outside. So what I saw in my specific case that was very, very nice to see people from the same region in Italy or around the world hanging out with my fitness app on a garden, in a beautiful garden. That was very nice. And by chatting online, they can follow up on the results. So I think that can be a thing that helps.
It's community building as well as physical.
Sure.
Yes.
What I like about the community building as well is a lot of the lack of physical activity also comes from a mental or social place as well.
Mhm.
So you're addressing both of those things, and building up the whole person, not just one aspect or another. And then you mentioned dieting. Dieting does, in my opinion, has its place, but the term, in my opinion, represents something that's temporary. Like a diet, you don't diet forever, right? That's just a new lifestyle. So dieting is temporary. So I think what we're trying to get to is that new lifestyle that includes the improved physical activity, improved diet, improved social interactions as well.
Sure, it must be sustainable, I think.
Exactly.
The first thing I tell to a client when she wants to start a different lifestyle is that when you want to start a new activity, you need to ask yourself, is it sustainable? Can I do this thing for 1 year long? If the answer is no, stop immediately because it's not something that is leading you to the results. Can be a crash diet, can be a crash workout, but then you risk to be in burnout forever. So it must be also applied to something that is really sustainable and enjoyable and something easy to adapt to our lifestyle. In my approach, I think that is not people that need to adapt to fitness, but it's fitness that needs to adapt to their lifestyles. And I think that another important role is mindset, how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive ourselves on a different dieting basis or on a different healthy plan. So yeah, I think that is the point. Of course, everything you are saying that is very interesting is related to technology. So I can relate about very nice things that are coming up in the internet world or online world. In my specific case, I added an AI system inside Bright and Fit that can help people to personalize their dieting partner, because the first difficulties I saw is that even if I offer different kind of recipes, people maybe they don't like the taste, they don't like these specific ingredients, or they need substitution. So a life-changing thing was just to add a chatbot that is implemented with my own knowledge, that is suggesting the proper recipes based on what they have on the fridge. So this is an example of implementing. Or other things is algorithm inside our program that offer the best suitable exercise. So if our program sees that when girls likes to train 15 minutes a day, good, they offer different kind of exercise with this approach. So in your case, how you see the future of the technology of gamification in your field, how is evolving?
So from our perspective on augmented and virtual reality worlds, I hit on it a bit earlier, but I see kind of two or three trends that are going to continue, we suspect, over time to make this a more fun, more engaging, more compelling experience. Um, the first is exactly what we were talking about, community. The ability to have social influence and social accountability cannot be undercounted. Um, it's very interesting how people find a sense of shared identity. It could be, new fathers. It could be Italian expats. It could be X and Y. But if you find some common link with somebody else, and then together you motivate each other towards a shared goal, exercising more, meditating, whatever it is, research shows that the outcome is significantly better. And so I think one piece on us is to figure out how do we best facilitate community groups, um, in part to motivate you to meet your goal, in part to Dr. Call's point, as a goal in itself, social integration having significant impact on outcomes. So one is the community aspect. I think the second, which is the one that I hit on, is around taking in new data points to better personalize experiences, whether that is your biometrics or your mood for that day. It could be some behavioral and contextual understanding. Some folks are better motivated by a drill sergeant than a cheerleader. Some are vice versa. So us understanding more about a person and then using that to provide a more personalized, compelling experience. The third thing I would say is we need to get to a point where we don't think about gamified fitness and gamified meditation, but we think about more holistically gamified health. And so tying together various different components of health, stress reduction, dietary, healthy behaviors, exercise, meditation, so on and so forth, into kind of more seamless and connected experiences and get away from these point solutions is another place where we, and I think the broader health tech industry, are aiming.
Hey, Marian, what do you think about it?
Well, I've certainly experienced the need for the virtual medicine as companies such as Adidas and Nike have questioned, can you put some feedback loops onto this equipment and give us that immediate information? I said, absolutely, we can. We can do anything. So that, but the fact that it became a fast conversation a good 2.5 years ago, you realize how this is becoming more like Star Trek, and the feedback is certainly going to be valuable. We embrace it. But it's interesting that the mechanics of an invention quickly becomes, can you make this virtual medicine? It's,
It's very interesting. And I loved your point, Julian, about the holistic health, because I think personally that we cannot obtain great results in a specific field. So we can think about the best gamification thing in nutrition, we can think about the best gamification things in fitness, but if they are not related on a unique lifestyles, it gives problems to people because sometimes how we perceive ourselves or how we manage our food while training is a complicated thing. So I see a future in connecting all these activities in a unique offer for clients or patients. And I think that can be something very good also for you, Kyle, for your patients and people coming to you to offer different kind of opportunities in this field.
Exactly. The importance of of what has historically been siloed is now being integrated in multiple different fronts. So even just an example of an electronic medical record in and of itself is siloed from a person's physical therapist or maybe their neurologist, um, their behavioral health specialist, their gym. You can bring all this data together, their wearables, right, into an overarching understanding and assessment of a patient. So on the gamification front as well, there's that ability to unite all those different areas for an overall health improvement on every single front. Very holistic.
Wow, that's a bright future ahead. Do you want to add something that it can be significant to our audience today before jumping to conclusion, guys?
you're up.
Hmm. The only thing I'll say is this. If we look at consumers' expectations and motivation around health, it's growing, right? I think in the last 20 or 30 years, we've seen people take more accountability for their own health and demand that of the products they buy, that it can help them and make it easier. Um, And increasingly, we've seen the companies that have the most success meet that challenge. They make changing behavior, they make daily tasks of caring for yourself just easier. And so I think it behooves all of us to think about when we're looking in the commercial space and we're looking for opportunities to not just create a great business, but to provide real value for people. We should always come back to how do we make it easier for people to do the thing they inherently know they should do? They know they should eat better. They know they should exercise. They know they should meditate, so on and so forth. Um, and again, if you can hack that, if you can make it simpler for someone to do the task they know they need to do deep down, you'll have a great business and a lot to be proud of.
My take home to you is to hang on to the implementation of the physicality of health. Get your body moving in the first step, make it your routine. I'm a firm believer in that we're born with, as the baby complement you, 100 billion cells and then 100 trillion neural biological connections. We can do anything if we tap into what is waiting for us to tap into. So start early. If you're not, get your children early. I love that you said your two daughters are in jujitsu. I have four children, a daughter and three sons. The younger two, at both at 18 months old, were skiing with me, downhill skiing, hard skiing between my legs with skis like this, with the construct being if they can get used to this, zooming down a mountain, they'll take on life easily. And that's basically what it was. They loved it. Speed demons. And they do attest to that proof. They'll say, thank you for putting us on that mountain and doing what we can do because the capacity is there. Push them, push yourself. And the rewards are incredible. But I think integrating that young connection of the desire to want to do it for life, to need to do it, is so critical for us.
Good, Kyle.
And on my end, my kids are so smart with technology, and every time I try to take it away, they find their way to get back on their hands back on it. So and I've kind of transitioned my mindset to technology is a part of life, whether you like it or not. So we need to employ it and utilize it to best improve and augment healthcare outcomes. So not fight it, work with it so that we can redirect into the appropriate and improved healthcare outcomes that we're looking for on the healthcare front.
I think that what we discussed so far is very interesting. Now we are open to any kind of question. I just give a conclusion of everything. Okay, I see hands there. I don't know if someone from the organization can give a microphone there. No, you can come here. Okay. Okay.
I can take a start. So ultimately, the goal is to get people, as I said, to forget the effort and focus on the gameplay. Have it be a fun, inviting thing. So what are the things that make experiences fun? We talked about the social component. If you know that if we can speak to your competitive nature, or on the flip side, know that you're going to feel guilty when your friend says, "How was your workout?" and you didn't do it. So social, I think, is a big piece. Um, the second is a variety of content is a really, really important piece. Um, I'll just talk about my own platform as an example. Quest, which is our virtual reality platform, we've got about 200 different health and wellness related games, everything from pickleball to ping pong to rock climbing to dancing to boxing, hit classing, so on and so forth. If we didn't have that variety, it wouldn't work. People need to have something that they feel is right for them, and also people get bored. So I'd say competition. Another one is just variety of content and keep it interesting. The third piece is really just back to this personalization concept. If you can, as much as possible, make a person feel that this experience was made for me, like this experience is meeting me where I am. It's not asking me to do 10,000 lunges when one or two is a struggle. If you can build a kind of a ramp for people in a safe and attainable way, that's where we found the most success.
Yeah, I can definitely relate in my own field people need to change. Even if we offer the best plan, the best program, if they repeatedly do the same things, they get bored. They always look for something else, and they risk to end up in something lower quality or something that doesn't help much. So in my specific case, yes, variety, that is very important. So doing different kind of things in terms of nutrition, mindset approach, or fitness. Another thing is live session. I think the personalization one-to-one needs to keep going because people needs to see a face. So there are so many fitness app in this world that are perfect, but they are just aesthetic. You don't see a person behind them, and people feel scared. They feel alone. So they need to see a face, and that can help them, a face that they can trust and lead them into a personalization program.
The last thing I'll say there, just because it can't be skipped, is that it needs to be efficacious. It needs to work.
Mm.
You know, there's a great variety here. Pokemon Go, which blew up in COVID, was had people running around chasing Pikachu's. A very very simple game, but it worked. It got people up. It got people moving. But when we start getting into digital versions of hit classes or strength training, there's a real risk of injury. And so I think it's the onus is on the manufacturers of these experiences to make sure that they have a clinical advisory team to make sure they're following established guidelines, that they're not pushing people into a place that's going to injure them or make them feel unsafe. Then you've lost your shot. They're not going to come back.
Okay, see another question here.
Mm-hmm. I hate to hog the conversation, but I'll address this one specifically.
Mm.
So on the data piece, hit the nail on the head. I think regulation hasn't yet caught up to biometrics and the advent of it. It's not considered HIPAA data in most contexts, so it's not regulated in the same way as we think of certain medical outcomes or records. Um, but the foundation and kind of benchmark that tech companies have sent, I think, is the responsible one, which is to treat it as a regulated, protected piece of information. And so I'll speak again just about how we handle this. Um, Anytime we have biometric data, the data is stored on the device. It doesn't go up to our cloud. Anytime it needs to be shared out, if you want to share it to Strava or you want to share it to Google Fitness or what have you, there's an encrypted and consented way of doing that. But by default, we should treat this data as sensitive as we know it to be, regardless of whether or not regulations have caught up to it. I forget, forgive me, the first question. Payer piece. Okay, yeah, this is a great one. So they have a lot to lose or gain. The question was, what role do payers, whether they be health plans or employers, play in this space? Um, and to be frank, this is a challenge. It, again, has not caught up. They don't think about prevention in the same way they think about saving medical costs from a treatment perspective. And so most health plans and employers themselves don't largely subsidize or reimburse for preventative actions. Of course, they try to encourage you to get a checkup. They try to encourage you to get your flu shot, so on and so forth. But what we're seeing in the employer space is at best they have things like lifestyle spending accounts where they'll give employees a couple $100 and they can spend it on anything from a gym class to a wearable to a new mattress. But I think over time there's going to be two phenomenons. One is the unit economics or the economics of prevention will start proving out and be undeniable to payers and providers, and hopefully we'll move from a sick care to a healthcare system.
Mhm.
I'm not holding my breath for that to happen anytime soon. But the second piece is I think that we're going to move to a world where increasingly people are self-paying out of pocket for things they believe to be important, which is why this kind of consumerization of digital health and this focus on building really killer experiences for a consumer versus the health system is going to pay off in the long term. More and more people will be paying out of pocket as opposed to waiting for their health plan to reimburse and subsidize.
Okay. We have time for one last question. I see there. I think that we need to play with quality. So what I'm offering to people, and I'm working a lot with healthcare practitioners that are saying, Alice, I'm helping people to stay fit, but I'm not fit at all. So the question is about quality. So give them a routine of 10, 15 minutes that can definitely help them. So something easy, make it easy and make it affordable is a thing. So inside my fitness app, for example, what we are offering is different choices of challenges that are differentiated by the time the customer can have for fitness. So 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and are differentiated also on difficulty level. So to approach also what other panelists are saying, we customize based on the necessity of people. So I think that the quality is an important thing. I don't know if other panelists have something.
And then being in healthcare field myself, I'll give an example of, we had a challenge for our medical team to see which team could get the most number of steps in. We all had smartwatches on, so it made it pretty easy. And so we found that when we gamified that, um, when nurses or doctors, the MSAs in front, the assistants, I got 5 minutes. You want to go walk around with me? We'll go walk a quarter mile on our break. So instead of just sitting there, on their phone, they actually got out and talked to each other and walked around, got 500, 600 steps in, and then went back to work. You do that a few times a day, it makes a really big difference.
Okay, so I think that we can jump to conclusion. I would love to thank Health 2.0 for this amazing opportunity. Of course, I would love to thank all these amazing panelists that are sharing with you so important knowledge. I would love to thank you for sharing this important content and showing that gamification is not just about playing, it's about to offer people terms of success and succeed in their life. Thank you so much.
You, Alice. I think I did my thing full.
What a fascinating topic. Thank you so much, guys, for your time and perspective on that. I am just loving the gap that we're bridging a little more every day between technology and health, and it is just going to keep on getting better and better. We're living in the